For more than a century, Coca-Cola has been everywhere. On hot streets, in war zones, on family tables, in vending machines, in memories. But behind the red logo and the glass bottle is something far less romantic, a stock certificate. A piece of paper that, for over 100 years, has quietly compounded wealth while empires rose and fell. This is not a hype story. This is a long-term autopsy. This is the story of Coca-Cola stock, from 1919 to today, and how one of the slowest-moving companies in history became one of the greatest wealth-building machines ever created. Chapter 1, 1919, the IPO nobody wanted. Coca-Cola went public in September 1919, listing on the New York Stock Exchange at $40 per share. By modern standards, it was a disaster. Within a year, the stock collapsed to under $20. Investors were furious, newspapers mocked it, early buyers panicked. At the time, Coca-Cola was just a syrup company, no global empire, no brand moat, no dividend legend. But here's the part history remembers. The company never stopped selling sugar water. Even during the Roaring '20s, Coca-Cola expanded bottling, standardized operations, and quietly laid the groundwork for something much bigger. The stock recovered. Then it kept going. Chapter 2, Surviving the Great Depression. The 1930s destroyed companies. Banks collapsed, factories shut down, entire portfolios vanished. Coca-Cola survived. Not because it was flashy, but because it was cheap, familiar, and everywhere. While luxury goods collapsed, Coca-Cola leaned into affordability. A nickel Coke became emotional comfort during economic despair. The company stayed profitable. The stock stayed alive. And most importantly, dividends kept getting paid. This is where Coca-Cola quietly separated itself from speculation and entered the category of financial durability. Chapter 3, War, Global Expansion, and a Monopoly of Habit. World War II changed Coca-Cola forever. The company made a bold decision. Every American soldier, anywhere in the world, should be able to buy a Coke for 5 cents. The US government helped build bottling plants across Europe, Asia, and the Pacific. When the war ended, Coca-Cola didn't retreat. It stayed. By the 1950s, Coca-Cola wasn't just an American drink, it was a global habit. For shareholders, this meant something critical. Stable revenue, expanding margins, rising dividends, increasing share splits. If you held Coca-Cola stock through this era, you didn't get rich fast. You got rich inevitably. Chapter 4, Dividends, the real engine. Coca-Cola began paying dividends in 1920. Then it never stopped. Then it started increasing them. For over 60 consecutive years, Coca-Cola raised its dividend annually, through inflation, recessions, oil shocks, and crashes. This turned Coca-Cola into something rare. A compound income machine. Most of Coca-Cola's 100-year return didn't come from price alone, it came from reinvested dividends, quietly buying more shares decade after decade. By the time most investors noticed, it was already too late to replicate. Chapter 5, the 1970s and 1980s, Inflation Proofing. The 1970s were brutal for stocks. Inflation exploded. Real returns collapsed. Many blue chips died slow deaths. Coca-Cola adjusted prices, protected margins, maintained brand dominance. Then came the 1980s, and Coca-Cola entered its golden financial phase. The stock surged. Returns exploded. And in 1988, one investor noticed. Chapter 6, Warren Buffett enters. Warren Buffett began buying Coca-Cola in 1988, 1989. He didn't trade it. He didn't time it. He held it. Buffett saw Coca-Cola not as a beverage company, but as a distribution monopoly wrapped in consumer psychology. Berkshire Hathaway's Coca-Cola stake would go on to produce billions in dividends alone, even if the stock price went nowhere. This validated what long-term holders already knew. Coca-Cola was no longer a growth story. It was a wealth preservation engine. Chapter 7, 2000s, Maturity and Slowdown. By the 2000s, Coca-Cola faced reality. Soda consumption peaked. Health awareness increased. Growth slowed. The stock stopped exploding. But it didn't collapse. Instead, Coca-Cola adapted water, zero sugar, energy drinks acquisitions. Returns became modest. Dividends remained reliable. From 2000 to today, Coca-Cola delivered roughly 8–9% annualized total returns, mostly driven by income. Not exciting, but devastatingly effective over time. Chapter 8, Crises Tested. Coca-Cola survived. The dot-com crash. The 2008 financial crisis. COVID-19. Inflation spikes. Each time earnings dipped, but the dividends stayed. That consistency is why Coca-Cola became a cornerstone of pensions, endowments, and retirement portfolios worldwide. Chapter 9, What $1 Became. Here's the uncomfortable truth. If you invested $1 in Coca-Cola in the 1920s, reinvested dividends, and held, that dollar would now be worth thousands. Not because of genius. Not because of timing. But because you did nothing. Coca-Cola rewarded patience more than brilliance. Final thoughts, the cost of being boring. Coca-Cola stock teaches a brutal lesson. The most powerful investments are often the most boring. No hype. No disruption. No moonshots. Just distribution, pricing power, dividends, and time. Coca-Cola didn't create millionaires overnight. It created them slowly and permanently. And that may be the most dangerous kind of wealth of all.